transforming lives. Your transformation starts here.
All right, guys, welcome to Transforming Lives. I'm excited that you took your Saturday, right? Your Saturday out to come on and join on with us. I'm your host, Tony Kimball. And this season of Transforming Lives podcast is definitely different, but I'm excited. So Transforming Lives spotlights educational leaders who are driving change worldwide. Through candid conversations, the show reveals how they're transforming their schools, lives, and sharing key principles behind their success to inspire and empower educators with actionable insight. So this whole goal is to begin to talk to individuals across this nation, right? We have 50 states. It's starting with 50 states. I anticipated going outside of the states and really going worldwide. When we talk about transformation, educators see your children more than you do. They spend more time with them than you do. So talking to these individuals, because when we look at it, there are high points and there are low points, and there are in between moments. But here's what it is. I've talked to 5-6 educators across this nation, and you hear some of the same topics. You hear success, you hear how do we improve, but we all share this common goal of the product of children. And we want to make sure that we get children to the point, because they are our future. Well, today is no different. This individual, getting on LinkedIn, I was scrolling through his content and I'm like, okay, it's something a little different about him. And I just continued to scroll through his content and just kind of watched what he was doing in Maryland. And then I said, you know what? Let me reach out and see what he says. You can either get a yes or no. That's the two things that you can get. And then you have to adjust. So I reached out and he was more than willing and said, yeah, sure, I'll come on. And I was like, okay, cool. So I was able to dive deeper into the content, what he's doing in his school, what he's done in the past. And it was like, okay, all right. And then I found out, hey, he's a former, I can't say former athlete. Once an athlete, always an athlete. I can't say former. And he's doing great things. So when I look at our next guest, give you a little background on him. Dr. Townsel, he's from, number one, let me say this. I'm a big Michigan fan. I'm from Mississippi, but I'm a big Michigan fan. So to have someone on here from the beautiful state of Michigan is awesome. They're the defending champs. So whatever happens this year, whatever. But they're the defending champs. As a student athlete, he was able to go to Howard University in Washington, D.C., go Bison. I think that's correct. And he was able to take that football scholarship and ultimately, and this is what you want to do, turn it into a doctoral degree. And when we look at it, he's worked at every level of the school system. So he understands it. He doesn't understand it he understands from the practical part of it. So he served from being a student teacher, coach, assistant dean, student of deans, all the way up to being a superintendent. Now, on July 1st, 2022, Dr. Andraé Townsel became the first superintendent in the history of Calvert County, Maryland. Guys, I'd like to welcome on my next guest, and I'm excited about this conversation, Dr. Townsel. Dr. Townsel, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm blessed, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to get you on this Saturday and have you on the share.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for reaching out. Happy to add some value.
Absolutely. I really want to get into football, but I'm gonna do right because you know how us football people do. But I want to kind of jump into this. Well, let me back up. How's the weather up there? Because it's cold in Mississippi. This is not normal for Mississippi. How's the weather up there?
You know what? Right now it's 33 degrees outside. Is going to be a high of about 37, 40 degrees today. So it's okay. Being from Detroit, I always tell my family we're about 10 degrees colder in Michigan than we are in Maryland. So if you ever want to gauge what the weather is like in Detroit, you subtract 10 degrees from what it is in the DC area.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm going to put my complaints in a envelope and put them under my desk because it's a little colder up there than Mississippi. But I want to go ahead and jump right into it. When we talk about transformation, transformation happens across our schools when you're intentional about it. Yeah. Can you share a moment of transformation that took place at your school? You've been at several schools and, you pushed the needle forward. And what were the key principles or strategies behind that success?
I'll be honest with you, man. Let me just start from the high school principalship level up to being a superintendent. My opinion is that transformation occurs when you have a relationship with young people. I mean, you just have to have a relationship with young people. What I've learned is if young people respect you, if they can relate to you, they will listen to you. So a lot of times adults, we're the authority. So when we talk to young people, you're stressing that authority. But young people today are not like the young people of yesterday. A lot of information at their fingertips. Believe it or not, some of our young people are some of the smartest human beings walking this planet with the access to information that they have. Because humans, don't forget, listen, we're smart. We adapt. I mean, we think, just because you have Chat GPT or just because no, they're adding that to what the human being already has. So they're extremely intelligent and extremely powerful. But that transformation happens at that relationship level. And when you have a great relationship with young people, man, they will run through a wall for you. By the grace of God, every place I had the privilege of leading, academic achievement increased because my philosophy is as climate and culture goes, so goes curriculum and instruction. If expectations are in place, if young people are understanding what you need them to do and they're relating to you, you're going to get some things done. So the transformation for me is strictly relational and being relatable to young people. And that is the key ingredient in the foundation of the bedrock of ensuring that young people achieve over time with regards to academics.
Oh, that's good. Relationships. That being relational is a concept that should be talked about, from the beginning of time, but it was not on the forefront of a lot of our schools. It was, okay, can we push this needle and just make things happen? But I love that, this whole idea of being relational. There's a book by a gentleman that I follow, a leader, Dr. Darius Daniels, and it was Relational Intelligence. And this book just really highlights the idea of being aware of the relationships that are around, because if you don't develop that relationship, kids are not going to open up. I agree 1000%. So, next we talk about relationships. So how has this diverse experience from being a student athlete, now I understand it, right? Being a student athlete at Howard University to holding these various educational roles shape your leadership style and approach to administration?
Great question, man. I believe that being a student athlete at Howard University, number one, when you think about, I was a football player, and being a student athlete, I mean, I was a teammate, and transitioning from being an athlete in the locker room to an adult in a faculty meeting. The team is the team. The locker room is the faculty lounge. I mean, it's the same philosophy. And what I've learned is how to just really overcome adversity. The reason why I love sports so much is because I do believe that sport is life playing out in its physical form. when you talk about overcoming
Ooh.
adversity, when you're
Yeah.
talking about collaborating and working together for a common goal, when you talk about role players. I mean, it's just life in the physical form. Whatever situation or section you are in life, you can literally put that on the football field and watch it play out. It just looks
Right.
different. So I'll say this. When I was at Howard, and going back to that relational piece, my major was physical education. So I was a gym teacher, and I learned how to motivate young people to put on gym clothes and gym shoes. You're talking about working in Washington, D.C.,
Yeah.
in some different communities, young people, how do you motivate them to go to the locker room and change their clothes to come out and get sweaty and then go back in the locker room and get dressed and get back to school? That's hard to do when you have young impressionable folks. But being at Howard
Right.
University, man, I'll be honest, I was exposed to some of the best educators, in my opinion, that walk this planet. Not only from undergrad, but when I go into graduate school, man, all of my professors were, if not sitting principals, former principals, if not sitting superintendents, former superintendents. So, for example, when I talk about my master's and doctoral experience at Howard University, I think of Dr. Lois Harrison Jones Fears. Dr. Lois Harrison Jones was the first Black female superintendent of Boston Public Schools, the first Black female superintendent of Richmond Public Schools. And she was my department chair. She was my instructor. She was my teacher. And having those individuals nurture me through that process of becoming, it really changed my life, man. I mean, going to Howard University was the best thing that happened to me because it was nature nurture, being a natural young man from Detroit City, with all the rough edges, going to a place like Howard University and just turning myself into a piece of clay where I can be molded. And I do believe that the cheat code for anybody who's in any capacity of wanting to lead or want to advance in their career, you have to be coachable. You don't know it all. You have to listen.
Correct.
But I do also understand that in opportunities where individuals are ambitious, want to climb that ladder, they have the degrees, they have the credentials, there's sometimes that glass ceiling. So the question is, what is that? There are also individuals that I'm from Detroit, so I'll say it like this, that hate on you. You know what I'm saying? So the question is, how do you overcome that? It's a philosophy that I learned, is that the powerful will not teach the powerless to take power from them. And as a young man looking to advance in my career, and understanding that everyone's not happy for me. Everyone doesn't agree with this ambition. Some people don't think I should. I mean, I learned how to go behind the scenes and learn all the information that I could and align myself with those high-level leaders and mentors like the Dr. Lois Harrison Jones, the Dr. Joe Hairstons, the Dr. Gregory Thorntons of the world. These are former superintendents that introduced me to that level of leadership. And it really changed the trajectory of my life, man. And it all came through Howard University, and it all came from that helmet I wore in that locker room that was my passport to having that access to those individuals.
Oh, so this is the beautiful part of having conversations like this. You try to piece from a distance. Okay, what's the person's story? And to hear how you are unfolding it right now, to see your direction and to hear, okay, this person was placed here, this person was placed here to help navigate that that journey for you. It's amazing because when you talk about a team or if you talk about taking on task, sometimes as leaders, you're like, okay, how do I do this? And then be able to connect with people that don't fall into that category of I'm just trying to, just trying to hate on you. So that leadership is a lonely place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Extremely lonely, especially because, a school year is long, man. You talk about 190 days of instruction, and then you talk about the other stuff that goes into building budgets and school improvement plans, district improvement plans. It's very hard and it's very difficult. And I do understand why in some cases, people lose that ambition to climb that ladder after so many years go by, and you get overlooked and you get passed over and you're told you're not ready. Sometimes you want to say, you know what? let me find something else to do. I have some ability. I think I can add value, and no one wants to give me a shot. But I'll say to individuals who are faced with being blackballed or being shadow banned or being
Yeah.
not promoted, listen,
Yeah.
diamonds shine anywhere. If you, this is a book I read called The Score Takes Care of Itself by Bill Walsh. And the philosophy of that book is, listen, you do what you're supposed to do. You read the book, you write the paper, you know your information, you do the application, you get the interview, and the score takes care of itself. The promotion takes care of itself. Everything takes care of itself when you do what you're supposed to do. And that's the philosophy that I live by. I just did what I was supposed to do. And when I was overlooked for opportunities, it never backed me down. I continued to move forward the way I knew. And the score took care of itself. The promotion took care of itself. The job took care of itself. And now I have the opportunity to change the trajectory of young people's lives all over the country.
Right. Oh man. Now you brought up my guy, man, Bill Walsh. Oh my
Yes,
goodness.
indeed.
Bill Walsh. I read that book early on as a football coach. It was overwhelming those first couple of years, and reading that book, his philosophy is rich. And to hear that you have done the same thing of understanding that the score is going to take care of itself that's the mindset that you have to shift towards. If you don't, you'll get lost in the wash of the stuff that takes your focus. So yeah, that's good to hear. Yeah. Now when I look at this whole idea of leadership, when I look at and it's almost as though I have to go and do my research on my guests. If you want to have something effective, if you want to have an effective conversation. And I've gone back to all of your spots, looked at interviews, and tried to come abreast of who you are. But this one, this next question, I've connected with you on other social media platforms, and I need an understanding of these 4 statements. Educate us about these 4 statements. Set the bar, meet the bar, exceed the bar, raise the bar.
Man, that's my philosophy. I actually put that together when I was in graduate school at Howard University. And let me tell you what it means. Set the bar, meet the bar, exceed the bar, raise the bar. Ultimately, that means to, at minimum, in everything you're trying to accomplish, at least get 1% better. You set the bar by saying, hey, this is what I'm going to do. Be decisive. Leadership is decisive. You can't be wish-washy. You have to know. So set the bar and then go in that direction. Do what you say you're going to do. Meet that bar. You say you were going to do it. Now it's time to show up and do it. And once you meet that bar, go beyond. I learned that there are no traffic jams when you go the extra mile. And once you go beyond what you say you were going to do, it's time to raise that bar, because there's a whole nother level out there. And the goal is to get to the highest level possible, add as much value as possible to whatever space that you occupy. And that's what raising the bar is, man. It's a philosophy that I live by. It's a philosophy that I share, that I teach, when I'm speaking to young people or with adults, raise the bar in everything you're trying to accomplish. Don't be average. Don't be mediocre. Mediocre and average is not great. You said you wanted to do something great. If you want to do something great, you can't do the average. You have to get up early. You have to go to bed late. You have to labor with the language of leadership. You have to get in the weight room. You said you wanted to be a professional athlete. You didn't do the push-ups. You didn't shoot the jump shot. You didn't throw the ball. You didn't run the route. Do what you say you are going to do. Be impeccable with your words. It's a book that I've read called The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And the first agreement is, listen, be impeccable with your word. Do what you say you're going to do. It's not cute anymore just talking about, I think I'm going to get my doctorate. That's not cute. Get it. Tell me that you registered. Tell me that you understand what I'm saying? So set the bar, meet the bar, exceed the bar, and raise the bar. 1% better. If you start with that 1%, over time, when you look back, you'd see how far you really come.
Okay, so I don't know what I need to do. It seems like I just got some homework or something right there. I don't know. I got my paper ready over here now, sir. And I can feel it not just your enthusiasm, just this this drive that you have inside of you, that it matches every video that I saw, from speaking to children, of telling them the difference between a 2.7 and a 3.0 is their phone. Those little things of changing your mindset, changing your perspective on how can I get to the bar? How can I exceed that bar? How can I raise that bar? So, that's powerful, in a sense that at some point you got to when the rubber meets the road, you got to make it happen.
100%.
Yeah.
You got to do it, man.
Yeah. So again, man, you got me motivated, man. Yeah.
We're about to run through this wall over here.
Right. And that's what it is. And that's the key thing with leaders is that you find that place that, and you talked about this earlier about being relational, finding that place in them that you can grab a hold of and push them forward.
Mm-hmm.
That's important to do as a leader. So now, when we look at, and you've laid out several, pieces of advice, but I want to kind of focus in on a little bit more. What key pieces of advice would you offer to individuals that are inspiring to take on leadership roles in education, and especially those that are underrepresented backgrounds?
Great question, man. I'll say, listen, do not doubt yourself. Yes, the road is long, the road is hard, the road is difficult, but I also learned that a smooth sea has never made a skilled sailor. You said you wanted to be a principal. Don't let nobody take you off that goal. You said you wanted to be an assistant superintendent. You said you want to be an assistant superintendent, and because a few people told you no, you're not trying to do that anymore? Listen, I'm from Detroit. I'm from Michigan, and there's a banner that hangs up in one of the high schools that I had. I think it came from the University of Michigan. It said, "Those who stay will be championed." Don't let nobody run you off of your goal and off of your dream. Stay. It's going to be difficult. It's supposed to be. It's not going to be easy. Let me just say this. Don't wish it was easier. Wish that you were better. Don't wish it was less challenging. Wish that you had more skill. Don't wish that it took less problems. Wish that you had more wisdom. Don't wish that it took less work. Wish that you had more work ethic. And because it's tough and it's difficult, you have to do it tough, and you have to do it in a difficult manner. People are not getting promoted and getting these opportunities because it's easy. It's not easy. The people are winning and achieving goals and raising the bars because of what I learned from the coach of Duke University: handle hard better. People are winning because they just handle hard better. You get promoted from a principal to central office leadership because you handle hard well. It's not easy being a high school principal. You got to handle hard well. It's not easy being an assistant superintendent. You have to handle hard well. It's not easy being a superintendent in an urban environment. Handle hard well. And that's the philosophy, man. The more you handle hard better, the more that bar is raised, the more you level up. Do not let anybody tell you you are not good enough. Everything is subjective. You tell yourself what you are, and you work every single day achieving what you say you're going to achieve. Be impeccable with your word. So that's my answer. Don't let anybody take you off your square. Don't let anybody take you off your goal. Don't let anybody's words make you change your direction. You have to decide. And to decide is a very serious word. Decide, you have to look at it. And let me just tell you how serious it is. It's as serious as the word homicide, suicide. It's serious, like decide. Right. Death to other options. I'm going that way. And you go and you do not turn back. They say burn the boats. If you're going in that direction and you hit that goal, get there, burn the boats, because I am not going back. That's what you have to do. And I do believe, like Dr. Eric Thomas says, the rest of your life will be the best of your life. If you can have that philosophy, do not ever turn around because of what somebody said or what somebody thinks about you. You think about yourself. If you see yourself as this, or if you see yourself as that, you be that. Don't let nobody say you aren't that. And I'll park my bus on that.
Hey, listen, this is great. Your passion for improving individuals' lives is coming through your words. I'm trying to do both. I'm trying to interview you, and I'm trying to consume the information that you're throwing at the same
You
time.
can always run it back, man. This is recorded.
Yeah, and to hear, depth to other options. So, that's already going to be, I'm already going to cut that up. I've already marked that because
There we go.
that's bars.
Hey, I can rap too now. Hold on.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that one too. So this whole idea of leadership, I want to extend this a little longer, but I want to be mindful of your time because one, I want to stop right now and say congratulations on your schools in your district. I came up on an interview that you had, and two of your schools play for state championships. Is that
Yes,
correct?
indeed. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One of them won. The other one came in second place. But all four, I have 4 high schools in my district. All 4 were in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole mindset and it's a whole culture around here about winning.
Right. Yeah. That's yeah, to have one is something, but have 2 and then have the rest in the playoffs is yeah, that's and then have academics along with it.
Yes, sir.
Is a marvelous destination that you're on. So with football, man, we have the 2-minute warning. And with that 2-minute warning, you have the floor. If you have any shout outs or however you want to do it, but you got the floor. I want to say push some more information, motivation out, man. You're coming out the woodworks with it. But you got the floor. I'm going to step to the side, sir, and this is your floor as it's been.
Thank you so much, man. So let me just say my leadership philosophy, as you know, is set the bar, meet the bar, exceed the bar, and raise the bar. Listen, when I talk about supporting young people, I'm talking about the triple A's, academics, athletics, and the arts. I do believe every young person can fit into one of those categories and really have the passion that they want in lives. In addition, think about if you want to be a leader, think of the triple V's. You got to be visible, you have to be vocal, and you have to be vigilant. You have to be pressed, and you have to get it done. And the very last thing, the outcomes for our young people. Listen, I believe in public education so much. It's about the triple E's: education, economics, and employment. And we can cover all of those avenues. I think we will be on top. I think we will not only change the trajectory of young people's lives for the positive, but also the workforce. The workforce in education is at an all-time low from my lens. The hiring pools are not as flooded as they used to be. So what that means is, the demand is there for having leaders, but the supply is short. So I encourage you, if you have a passion for the field of education, get in it. Let's change the philosophy about what it means to be an educator. Be the best educator you can possibly be. Let's change the narrative and let's ensure that we're doing what we need to do to enhance the student experience and increase academic achievement. With that, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Townsel is signing out, and I will park my bus. Thank you.
All right, sir. I'm going to drop you in the background. Quick conversation afterwards, and I'll close this out.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. Townsel. I don't have a mic in here, but I'm going to drop this mic right here. The information, the passion, and the compassion that you hear in the voice of Dr. Townsel is what is happening every day in his school district. So, guys, if you have the opportunity, make sure you share this with an educational buddy. That listen, hearing this over the break can be that not just motivation, but motivation for application. So, again, share this with your buddy. Like and subscribe. This ends Transforming Lives podcast. We out.